Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant and welcome back to this project that we are going through just trying to figure out how to improve our skills as software engineers and learn those important topics which are needed. So as I keep mentioning in all of these videos, it's very much more just relaxing, just trying to go and figure out like, hey, what's important? What do we need to learn? And just playing around and trying to find those topics that we need to know for software engineering. Okay, so let me minimize myself here, and then let's remind ourselves where we were. We have this server.js, and now I'm trying to figure out. Okay, we were able to get these like functions like app.get, app.get, and then based off of that, we can get the URL. Okay, but then in the organization that I was given that, okay, this would be a good file structure, right? We have the server.js, and then we also have like apps.js. We have these routes and controllers, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I have all of my middleware functions in here in the server, or do I put them in other locations? Do I see anything? I think it would probably be in routes, right? Like that makes sense to me. Um, so let's try to go and uh, see what we can do. So I am creating a Node.js project, and I want to know where I should store all of my app.get and app.post, etc. Okay. Then once we start working on this and understand that a little bit more, we also need to try to be able to render HTML. So that's going to be the next step as well. So let's see. And other routes, handlers, separate routes into their own folder. So instead of defining all routes in server.js or app.js, create a separate routes folder. Inside that folder, different root files based on the feature or resource that they handle. Okay, so I'm going to create a directory called routes, and then within that I'm going to have different JavaScript files. Is that kind of similar to what it's saying here? So inside of source, I'm going to have routes. Okay, I guess I'll do that. So here I have our source, and inside of source I have routes, and inside of routes I will have a folder, and I'm just going to call this, I have no idea, should I have ree.js? Is that how this should be done? Okay, define routes in separate folder. Each file in the routes folder would contain specific endpoints. Okay, so root users.js. Express router. So I'm not sure what router is. We're going to have to figure that out as well. Module.export router. So I'm not sure. Okay, module.export. Again, this is something that I'm also not too familiar with. Import routes in, and then I can, so constant user routes equals, and then the path to that location, and then can I do, so this app.use kind of like attaches that users and posts, okay. So controllers are another thing that I was seeing that I was supposed to do, but I have no idea what they are actually for. Um, so if your routes contain a lot of logic, move that logic into separate controller files in a controllers folder. The route files will only handle requests and forward them to the appropriate function in the controller file. This structure keeps your project neat, scalable, and easier to maintain. So maybe we go and do controllers later. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's kind of get this thing here. So source routes, and then inside of here, I want to create a file called, I'm just gonna just do this. And now I can do import. What are all of those things that I need to import? Express from Express. I think that's the JavaScript. Ooh, not like that, but I think this is the JavaScript way to import, right? Import Express from Express. Import Express from Express. Yep. So I have that, and then there was one other one, the one that I was saying I wasn't too familiar with. So it was import, what did they call it? Routes or router from express.router, okay? From express dot okay, so we're doing things differently. It's not this require anymore. So what's the difference between require and then the way that I'm doing it? So, okay, express.router. Okay. Now, do I do app.get? No, this is router.get. Why is it router.get and not app.get? Lots of things that we're a little bit confused about right now, but hopefully it will make more sense as we go. So router.get, okay, and now, is this where I do the callback function? Okay. Request and response are passed to response dot send. Side of the function, inside of the re file. Okay. All right, so now I have to do this exporting call. So module.exports equal module dot exports equals router. Then from here, I think I can go in and say import re from source routes re like this, and then app.use re, and then I can comment all of this out. Okay. Does this look kind of reasonable? App.use. Huh. REE, and then pass in that function. Okay, so let's save this and save this, and then do node mon server.js, okay, and it doesn't like it. Okay. Do I need to actually say re.js? Still crashing. Okay. So it doesn't like this line, maybe? Okay. Save that, and we're still getting that error, so why would we be getting an error? Equals router. Maybe I didn't set it up properly here. So equals require this. So I'm going to get rid of this. And then right under it, do import, or what was it? Const equals require source routes, and then was that a JavaScript file? Routes user. Okay, now I should be able to put that in there. Request response dot send nothing to send. I don't know. I'm just writing something. All right, let's copy and paste this. Into here and see if it knows what's happening. Well, that's what I did in the first place. If you're using named exports in, I don't know what a named export is. Specify type module in package.json. Yeah, it's still not working. I'll just try this one for good measure. Okay. Awesome. Should I go into the package.json and change that module, so type to right above dependencies? I don't know if I should actually do that though. Let's just do it and then see if we get an error. I don't. Yeah, it's not helping anything. Okay. Okay. Since your project is running in ES, type module in package.json, you should use ES module syntax. What is ES module? So it should be this one with the JavaScript. Kind of like that right there, right? It's the exact same thing, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So I got rid of that. There. Got rid of it. Good. Now in here, maybe I don't have this require. Maybe it should be like cont, or maybe it should be, how would it be? Import express from express. Yeah, like this. Export default router. Export default router. Common.js. If you want to now go in and put in that whatever type is equal to the whatever we did here, like type equals module. Okay. So it still doesn't work. Let me try closing out nodemon. Okay. Then rerunning it. And it still doesn't work. Okay. Why? What if I'm just gonna ask it to write me a server.js and a endpoint that I can put in src routes that will go to the endpoint of, I don't know what we want to call it. Haha. So we're going to just copy and paste this. Okay. See if it works. So inside of server.js, we're going to take everything and comment it out. And paste that there. And why is this being very, oh, that's annoying. Okay. So we got that. Now, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create another folder, right? I'm guessing. Haha.js. Okay. Yep. So I come in here. I create another one, haha.js. Okay. Now within haha.js, I just copy and paste this. And it looks like it's running. I'm going to come here, localhost, and do haha. Okay. So now we have kind of a golden copy that we can back engineer and figure out what's going on. My first question is, what are the different imports what are the different exports, and why do we do modules dot export one time? Now we're doing export default router. And why do we do like import here, import express from express, but then the other time we did const express equals require express? Okay, so let's go here and try to get our questions answered. So can you tell me about why there are different import statements and why one import statement cannot be used with the others? Also, what are the different export functions? Okay, absolutely. The difference in import and export statements in JavaScript come from the two different module systems. So common JS and ES modules. Okay, so what is common JS and what is ES modules? Is it just like syntax? Is it like Python 2 versus Python 3? Okay, common JS. This is older module system used in Node.js by default before ES modules were introduced. Okay, so this common JS is the older version of things, and they use this require thing, okay? And then they do module.exports my module. And then I guess you can export multiple functions at the same time. Okay, why can't required be used with ES modules? Because ES modules use a different syntax and are natively supported in JavaScript, while common JS was designed for Node.js. When type equals module is set in package.json, Node expects ES module syntax only. Okay, so we set this here, so we have to use this ES module syntax. So this is the modern module system built for JavaScript and is used in browsers and newer versions of Node.js. So that sounds like what we want anyways. So let's stick with the ES modules. Okay. And in that, you do import and then the variable name that you want to call it from and then the location. Okay. And then you can also do, I guess, multiple things. So like function 1, function 2 from here. And I'm guessing this function 1 and function 2 are the kind of shadow opposite of the export which we did in this module, my modules JS file, right? I'm guessing it's going to be like function 1, function 2 here. So export constant function 1. Okay. So yeah, this is how we export things in ES modules. Okay. All right, well, so we got that. Let's try to get our re1 back up. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to called it haha roots. Okay, so I'm gonna do the ES way. Import re, do I need to say routes from, and then the location here, and I go to source, then routes, then re.js. Okay, that's what I want. And then I need to say that use function, right? Like app.use, app.use. Then when we get something that goes to this re here, I want to reroutes. Okay, and then in reroutes, or then in re, right here, I have these two functions. And let's see which one gets called. If it's nothing to send, or inside of the refile. And do I need to export both at the same time? Or just router? I don't know. Let's test it out. Nothing to send. Okay, so what if I do re? Okay, here we go. So it does strip away the first argument. Okay. I think I'm starting to see how it's working. And I did not need to export multiple things. So let's figure out what this router is right here and why I didn't need to export it twice. What is this router and why did I not need to specifically export both and re functions? Okay. The router you see here is an instance of an express router, which is used to define and manage different routes in a modular way, okay? So it's something inside of Express. That's great. What is Express Router? Express Router is a miniature version of an Express application that helps you organize routes without cluttering your server.js, okay? And this is the bad way of doing it, right? No, this is the good way. I need to do it like that, but then I can, okay. So you're creating two new router instances that can handle different endpoints. So a router instance. Okay. You didn't need to manually export each route because the router itself acts as a container for multiple routes. When you define routes like this, you're attaching those routes to router. Since you're exporting router using this, you're exporting the whole router instance, which already contains all the routes you defined. Okay, so I create this router here, which is an instance of this express router object. I attach two callback functions. or paths to the router, and then what I do is I just export that router itself, which is a single object. So that's why I don't need to have multiple exports right there. Okay, fine. Okay, so now I want to figure out how to render HTML and CSS based on different requests. So I now want to be able to render different HTML files based on the route that a user sends to me. Okay. So Express built-in templates rendering system serves different HTML files based on the user's request. Here's how to do it. So install EJS, another templating engine. So I remember I've used EJS a long time ago. For rendering HTML files dynamically, EJS is a great option. Okay, cool. So npm install EJS. Let's in node package manager install EJS. Okay, there we go. So now set this up. So I have routes view, okay, index.ejs, about.ejs, and contacts.ejs. And I believe these are different like web pages that I'm going to be loading. So I am going to come into here, source, add another file like this, and I am going to call it, was it views? Is that what they called it? Views, which is on the same level as routes, and inside of that I create some EJS file. Okay, so inside of views I create a file, and I'm going to call it index.ejs. Okay, so now I believe this is HTML that I'm allowed to pass in parameters to. I believe that was kind of the idea behind EJS. But they'll be EJS templates, which work just like HTML. Okay, so now set EJS as the view engine. Okay, we're gonna look into what that does. So this goes in here, okay? And this is kind of like the dynamic part right here that I can pass in a title and a message. Okay, and then from my server, I now need to set up the EJS, which is right here, like, okay. app.set, was it view engine is EJS. Then was it another app.set? Views and then path dot join views. Okay. So let's try to do this right there. Okay. Now, what do I want to do? Essentially this right here, but I want it to be the instead of about, I want it to be like index. When I go to index, I want to render about. I don't want to do about, I want to render index. About us. Okay, let's just see if that works. Node mon server.js crash. Okay. So it doesn't like this right here. Okay. I'm gonna copy and paste this. So copy. Like this, and instead just do path.join and what do I want to do? Need to import path. Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe, hold on. Okay, so now I'm gonna come here and just rerun this and see if I get a crash. No, good. And then this should say nothing to render or nothing to send. Good. And now I should have this and it says welcome to my, yep, that makes sense. And now I'm going to do index and it should, oh, okay, great. Okay. Failed to look up views index in views directory. Well, yeah, because it's in source right here. Source. How about that? No. My index.ejs is inside of source.views.index.ejs. Okay. Your setup looks great, however, the issue might be that views directory inside of source but not, but your server.js is trying to look for views in the root of the project. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Since your EJS is inside of this, you need to point express to the correct location. So set views path to modify that to be here, and instead, oh, okay. Like, RC this views. Okay, now let's try it again. Awesome. Okay, cool. So now, how can I get some CSS? Awesome, it is working. Now, how do I get to connect CSS? Okay. Source, routes, views, index, public, styles.css. Okay. Then tell Express to serve static files from public folder. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to have source, I'm going to have views. But actually, I put views inside of source. Okay. App.use express static public. Okay. Link your CSS in EJS. Okay. So src public, come here, add a new folder, public, and now inside of this I have styles.css. Okay, and now CSS was just like yeah, you have, okay, whatever, body, great, like this, and then I need to go into my EJS file here, and I need to tell it to associate that location, right? And where did we do that? That's in the head, and then I do link relative style sheet href. Okay, so our title here. So link, what was it? Link relative, okay, equals style sheet, okay. href, and then the address to it. href, and then the location to it. So is from its perspective here, it's going to be in the directory above it, public styles. Public styles. I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna try that. I don't think this is gonna work. Styles.css, okay, whatever. Styles.css, okay. Oh, it did work. Okay, so I feel like we got to a fair location where things are kind of working. And now the question is, okay, cool. We have a lot of back engineering that we need to do to figure out why it's working, how the CSS is actually connected to the HTML, and how the HTML is being rendered, and where all of this. So I wanted to get it to a point where it's actually working. We do have a golden copy, and then from that golden copy, we're able to reverse engineer how it's working and try to understand things. And then once we understand things, okay, then we can more confidently step forward and make this into the project that we're hoping for. So if that is something that is interesting to you, subscribe to this channel, and we are going to continue with this project, and we're not going to stop until we get good at software engineering. And I hope you enjoyed. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will be back very soon. So have a wonderful day.